So let's begin, and I think we will make it with passion.
Okay, you're in charge. I'm
as
just
as
here.
as usually you do it, and I will sit like interviewer.
Okay, am I okay?
Yeah,
The picture of
super.
me is okay. All right. Okay.
So today we are with Jonathan Evans, who are living in the US, and who is very famous in his batik practice, and who have made batik for 60
Almost
years.
almost 60 years.
For almost
Amazing.
60 years. Yeah, and today we are not online. It's not live, and I will ask you questions, Jonathan. And thank you for coming. And I think all members who will watch us will enjoy because I hope you will tell us your creative path, maybe in short version. So please tell us a story how it all began.
Okay. I back when I was in my early 20s, like 21, I was a school teacher. I was a school teacher because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was in the classroom one day, and another teacher came in, and he had a little bit of cloth, and he held it up, and he said, "I've just come back from a holiday in Malaysia. I found this. It's called batik." And he showed me this little picture, and it was kind of a painting on cloth, but it was the same on both sides. It was dyed into the cloth. And he said, "It's called batik. It's done with wax and dyes." And it was a picture of a house and a river and a bridge and a guy crossing the bridge. And he kind of told me roughly, you work from light to dark because dyes are not like paint. You can only over dye and go from light to dark. You can't go from dark to light. And I looked at it, and something in my young brain clicked, and I thought, I see how this is done. I understand it. And so with my kids, we did some very simple batik in the class. People brought in T-shirts, and we did peace signs on white peace signs on black T-shirts, and we just played around. It was fun. It was messy. It was fun. 5 years later, I left England, went to live in Spain. I had to earn a living. I was trying different things that I knew how to do to make money. And I remembered batik, and I made a batik shirt, and I was working in the kitchen of my apartment in Barcelona. The first shirt sold immediately. So I did 6 more. They all sold immediately. And that was 60 years ago. And I've done not much else in 60 years. I've stayed with it. I've been fabulously rich. I've been fabulously poor. I've been everywhere in between. And I'm still working. And I still love the process. Nothing has really changed. I'm hooked on this process. And I have to say, it's not for everyone. There's a certain kind of mind that functions in the batik process way, and some people don't operate like that and can't do it. Some people can do it. I'm able to see a scene, take it apart, put it back together again in sequence in my mind. I can figure out the light to the next color, to the next color, to black, and I can do that. And that's what my batik is all about.
And I remember one day you told me that you immediately understood how it was done.
I did. As I've just told you, I looked at it, and something in my brain got the concept. You start from light and you go to dark, and in between, in every painting or in every view, there is a sequence of colors. And if you can figure all that out in dye, which isn't easy, you can make batiks on cloth. You can do anything on cloth, and until I started doing it, and of course Rosie does it, and my wife Beth does it too. Until we all worked at this, there wasn't really any very good realistic batik. And at times Beth's work, my wife's work, is hyper realistic, and so is mine. I've definitely done some hyper realism with batik, which hasn't really been done before except by a very few people, and Rosie of course is one of them.
It's amazing for me because I also work in batik technique, but every time I'm learning, and to be honest, I don't see in advance how exactly it will be.
That's true. That you can. The hard work is in the planning and the drawing and getting it right. For me, anyway, I draw very detailed pictures before I begin, and I make my plan before I begin. And of course, that sounds great, like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you've got it. But it doesn't go like that.
Yeah.
The deeper you get into the painting and the longer you work on it, the darker it gets. You start losing your drawing. You start praying that you're still on track. You kind of finish it all off, and right at the end, everything is dark, and you don't know what you've got because it's covered with thick layer of wax. So you don't really know what you've got till the wax comes off, and then it's wonderful or terrible.
Yeah.
They're all in the lap of the Batik gods. I think it's kind of, at some point you've done all you can do. You just have to pray that it works out for you, and you know all about that.
Yeah, and you told us that you began from clothing, and now do you also produce something on the cloth?
Yeah, I've come just this year. I've started doing clothes again. Part of it is that my eyesight is getting very bad. I have macular degeneration. I cannot see details. So I cannot do the hyper realism I always used to do. And so it's cool. I've kind of adapted, and I'm trying new techniques and new things to work with, and clothes is a very kind of fun and easy thing to do. I can come up with some interesting textiles. I can come up with some interesting patterns and drawings and effects, and I'm enjoying doing it.
Yeah,
I've just done a whole new line of clothes. I can't show them to you now. They're in the gallery, but I've enjoyed doing it, and they're different and they look great, and I'm happy with them. I also, again, this is very personal, and I'm talking about aging. I went to see a Pissarro, the French impressionist painter, a big show of his last month. Turns out he was always my favorite impressionist. Turns out he went blind in one eye as he got older. And when you look at his work, he starts off rather realistically and then very textured and beautiful. And as he goes on and gets older and older, the work gets looser and freer and more ephemeral, and he's clearly not seeing any details at all. I can really, I'm not suggesting I'm Pissarro remotely, but I have gone through the same process. I've had to let go of what I know I can do and I've done before, because my eyes are just not functioning well enough to do it. So my style is getting much looser and freer and a little more impressionistic as I go. It's, I mean, as long as I'm still enjoying it, that's really all that matters. I only do this because I love it. I pay the bills doing it. Beth and I work and make art and sell art and pay the bills, more or less. What's more important is that I still love what I do. After all these years, I'm still as passionate about Batik as I have been, maybe more. And I still enjoy doing it, and I've just had to adapt to circumstances and old age and do the best I can, and that's fine.
Yeah, and
I
that's
can't,
why we're here, because your passion is a very rare thing in our world, I think. And you are a great example for all of us, and especially for me. And I have no words how to express.
I don't know why. I'm just like you. You've done batik a long time. You love batik, I know.
Yeah.
You've come up with something very unique, and I've told you this before. Somehow you are doing representational batik, but with definitely a Russian, whatever
Russian.
the Russian folk thing is. You've integrated Russian folk art in some way into your work, and I see that very clearly. I
Yeah.
saw that in the piece you put in the competition. I saw it in the land, the houses Betty, the city Betty you sent me recently. It's got a
Hmm.
kind of Russian folky charm to it, which is, I guess, part of your who you are and your psyche and how you see the world.
It's interesting because when I'm creating, I don't usually think about it. I'm just creating.
Of course, we don't. We create from who we are and what we are. You've come from a certain culture and with a heritage, an artistic heritage behind you, and it shows in your work.
Yeah.
I suppose I have too. I don't really know. I can't be objective. I can't be very objective about my work. And another thing we're not talking about. I mean, hold on. I'm going to close the door here to keep the noise down. Hold on.
Hmm.
I I am honestly my hardest critic. I have hardly ever, I've done thousands of betiks, thousands and thousands of them, and I've hardly done 10 that I'm happy with. I don't believe I have. I've never done one. I've looked at it and said, fantastic, that's perfect. I've never done that. There are always flaws. I'm always chasing some kind of perfection that I will never find. I know I will never find it, but I still chase it. And in a way, I think it's a mechanism that I've constructed
Hmm.
to continue to work. Next time, I'm going to get it right. And so each one I do is a failure, but the next one I'm going to get it, and it gets me onto the next one. And I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
I've got a pile of work out in the studio, uh, drawn, ready to go. I've got scarves ready to go. We have a huge number of commissions from the Denver Art Museum, overwhelming us at the moment, and I've got it all lined up to go. We have to do the very best we can with this work for the art museum. It's very important to us, and I suppose we'll do it. But both of us, Beth and I, are typically insecure artists. We never are happy with our work. We never think that's great. Good old Jonathan, isn't he fantastic? I think, oh, what a pity I didn't get it right. Next time I will. It's a bit like that.
But it forced you to go further.
Yeah, it means that I change. The work has, I look back over the years, how my work has changed. It's gone up and down. And that you look at a period and you think, God, I was good in that period. I really had something. And then you look and you think, not so, I lost the plot a bit at this point, or I wasn't thinking clearly at this point, or maybe I get influenced by somebody else. That's another thing.
Hmm.
I'm not really comfortable at museums because I go in and I look at all these masterpieces and I think, oh God, that's fantastic. What am I doing wrong? Or Pissarro really has nailed it here. He knows what he's doing. I've lost the plot. It sort of makes me feel insecure. They say that, and this is again not to equate what I do with anybody else, but David Bowie, the musician,
Hmm.
he never listened to other music. And they asked him about it, and he said, I get confused. I think I'm doing it wrong. the only way I can be sort of stay true to what I am and who I am and what I want to do is to kind of focus, ignore what they're all doing out there, and just stay with what I'm doing. And that's part of me too. I get confused in the museum. It makes me think I'm missing something, and that, of course, keeps the work original and kind of unique. I hope, one hopes.
But what about to learn from other artists?
Of course I do. I mean, it would be untrue to say I haven't. I did my degree at university long ago in art history, and I wrote an essay on Hokusai, the Japanese woodblock print master. He's an incredible draftsman. He can draw like nobody else. And I always loved his work. And if anything has influenced me, it's been Japanese woodblock art, which does relate and is similar to batik in a way, in that each color in a print is done by a separate carved woodblock. So you have to separate out the colors. And exactly when you look at Japanese art, you can see clearly the sequence of the blocks. And sometimes there are 20 different blocks in one print. And these artists had a special way of framing their work. They had a view. They could look at a landscape and their composition. I won't include that tree, and I'm going to cut that bit off and move it over here and focus in that corner. That was a way of looking at the world and a way of approaching art, and that definitely has influenced me. My eye is very much formed by Japanese art, I've always thought. I mean, I don't think about it now. I do what I do, but along the way, Japanese art has been something I've followed. There is, Hiroshige, Hokusai, Utamaro, Kuni. There are a lot of really wonderful Japanese artists who are not really known in the West very much, and their drawings are incredible. And what they did does relate to batik, and that it's not like oil painting or acrylics when you can step back, you can add a touch of light or a touch of color, or you can scrape a bit off that it doesn't look right and repaint it. Batik is like wood blocks. It's bang, bang, one dye, one wax, one dye, one wax. You're kind of trapped into your sequence once you've worked it out, as you know, and you can't really change along the way. And that definitely has the Japanese approach to it, and the way they frame their art is definitely something that's impacted on me.
And I have a question about your technique. And tell us a little bit about your technique. And as I know, you use traditional tools for your batiks, and just some words about it.
Well, of course, you can't do the kind of detailed work we do without chantings or cantings, as some people call them. These are the tools, copper tools like wax pens that you scoop the wax up. There's a spout at the end. There are fine spouts and open spouts, and some are great for detail, some are great for covering large areas. Of course, you can use brushes for some things. Actually, what's most interesting for us at the moment is a long time project that Beth and I have been working on, which is manufacturing the very best tools we can make. And it's taken a year to do this. We've been working on this for a long time, and suddenly we've come up with large, medium, small chantings, beautiful. The grip is right, the handle's long enough, they're made of copper. You can get very fine details, you can get broader details. So we are manufacturing and selling chantings. Plus, Beth came up with a much better version of the Vietnamese wax knife, which I
Wax
don't know.
knife.
It's a tiny little tool,
Mm-hmm.
a bit like a chanting. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't got one here, and I can show you. I should have brought one to talk about this. We've come up with a new, bigger, better version of that, and you can do beautiful straight lines easily, just like
Mm-hmm.
this. You can do wavy thin lines. You can do all kinds of things with it. And we're now making and selling sets of chantings, and we call them fast liners, the new tool. And we're selling them, and we're actually selling really well. It's exciting.
And I saw also your new stamps
Yes,
from metal.
same guy who we were working with to make the chantings is making. Well, we've always used, for playing around with fabrics and in our art classes, wooden blocks, which like stamps, you put in the wax and boing, you get a print. We're now coming up with different metal ones, which work in the same way, but we've got spirals and stars and all kinds of shapes, and you can get some wonderful effects playing with them. And that's what I've been doing with the new clothes, actually. I've been using them for that. And again, we're selling those as well.
And about clothes, I also wanted to ask you, are they usually scarves or not? Or not only scarves?
We've done scarves for a long time. Our business, Beth and I, is called shallow walla. Hindi. Shala is a shawl or a scarf, and walla means a guy. So we called our business Scarf Guy because we were making scarves. And this time I'm making scarves. I'm also making small tops women's clothes, tops for women, and loose flowing dresses and all kinds. Some of them are huge and take a lot of waxing. Again, it's sort of playing with tools, playing with ideas, playing with color. As my eyes get worse and I can't do the very detailed portraiture, for instance, I used to do, I've got more and more into the dyes. And you really could spend your whole life learning about dyes, learning how to go from orange to blue to brown to black. There are ways of doing all this. It can all be done. Plus making sure that they are fast, that they don't wash out. Now, many artists work on many batik artists work on a frame. They paint their dyes in. They iron the wax off at the end. Try throwing that batik into a washing machine and see what happens. Our clothes, before we put them in the gallery, all go through the washing machine. The dyes stay. We've learned how to use dyes properly so that we don't lose color. And one of the things I'm doing these days is working on dyes, trying unusual combinations, trying things I would never have tried, 30 years ago. But this is you could spend all your life working with dyes. You know that too.
Yeah. And about artists, about modern contemporary batik artists, which artworks do you like most of all?
Well, I suppose because I'm a representational figurative artist, basically, I always like people who are working like that. So, of course, I've known Rosie a long time, and our work, though our approaches are kind of different, I love her work, and we do compatible kind of work. Beth, of course, I think is the best artist in the world right now. She's better than I am by far. She's hit her peak and has just recently done some huge commissions, like, 6 foot by 3 foot, really big pieces. And they're beautiful, very, very realistic, very beautiful, great colors. She, of course, feels insecure about it and thinks they're terrible, but they're brilliant. I like what Rosie does, as I've told you. There's a woman called Celia Hume who does portraits, which I think are very good, but she again has a different approach. She
Mm-hmm.
has a fantastic technique, but she's painting an awful lot of the dyes in. I paint in when I have to. If I've got a green landscape and I want some red, I will
Mm-hmm.
probably paint the red in, cover it, and then do the other colors. Um, I'm I'm still very much a traditional batik. I started as
Mm-hmm.
a traditional batika. There's a pure form of batik which I'm trying to adhere to. It's important to me. Um, for instance, when people say, "Oh, I do batik on paper," I think nonsense. Batik is cloth. Any batik artist who's serious about it, batik is on cloth. It's on cloth in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in India, in Europe, and in my studio. Batik is on cloth. I can't really accept batik on paper. Why batikers on paper want to ally with our work, I don't know. We have a terrible reputation. We struggle all the time to explain what we do and to say how difficult it is and how special it is, and it's on bloody cloth. Um, I don't understand. Watercolorists have always used resists in their process for hundreds of years. It's been part of it, and they never needed to call it batik. Anyway, my point was, and I'm ranting a bit here, my point was that I'm a traditional batik artist in many ways. I don't cheat. I go, if it takes a lot of work to get an effect, I'll do that. I'll do whatever it takes to get what I want. There are no shortcuts for me. That's perhaps what I'm saying. There's a process. I work my way through the process, and that's what I love about is going through the process.
There are some batik artists in the USA right now.
David Lucht. He's also another representational, very original artist. David Lucht. Lucht.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the Batik Guild. He would be a good person to talk to. There are a few artists, but not many. I mean, relative to Asia or relative to Europe, there are not many.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have 40 members now in the guild from America. It used to be like 3. So we are finding more artists.
Mm-hmm.
There's some guy, I've never managed to talk to him, called Buddy something or other, who put a piece in the Year of Batik competition. And there's a lot of movement in his work, and I don't know how he does it. I couldn't understand the technique looking at it, and I haven't managed to talk to him. I mean, I should chase him, really.
Yeah, and your gallery is just one of a kind gallery in the US. Yeah.
There is no other batik gallery in America. Somehow, I don't quite know why that is, but we've been going 14 years. This is our 15th year we're going into now.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a little better every year. We're teaching more than we really want to. We teach every week during the summer. We do it for money, and we do it to meet new people and to spread the word of batik, of course. And that's at this point very important to Beth and I, that more people come and start working in the medium. The batik process doesn't get forgotten and die. And of course, we want young, brilliant people like yourself to come into the movement and keep the whole thing going when we're gone.
And interesting, you are living in more than 100 kilometers from the big city, and how people know.
Find us. Exactly. It's taken 14 years.
I understand.
I mean, our profile has grown very fast. For a long time, we were working in the dark, it felt like. People would come in, I would explain batik. I showed them the studio, which is by the art gallery, conveniently. And we've sold, and we've kept going.
And it's just a 1-day workshop for them, or it's several day workshops?
We've done 1 days to 5 days. We've done it with beginners who just want a day of fun. We can make sure they have a lot of fun. And we've had serious artists come from all over the world to really learn our technique. And we are very experienced with, I must have done hundreds and hundreds of classes of all kinds. And sometimes it's a question of enabling people. They come in with a little picture on their phone and they say, oh, I really want to do this. And if it's possible, we will figure out how these people can achieve what they want. Sometimes people just come in to play around with their kids and have fun, and that's fine too. What I enjoy about the classes is not only the work and helping people get results. That's very important. They're very intimate classes. We have a small studio. We talk the whole time. You've got to be able to batik and talk in our class. We play rock and roll music. We play any kind of music that people want, and we kind of make it fun. I hated school. I really hated school. It wasn't fun. I was bullied. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt an outsider. I really didn't have a good time. I somehow went on and did a degree. I didn't really enjoy doing the degree either, but I did it. And then I was a school teacher. And what I learned along the way was, if you don't have fun, you don't learn. It's got to be enjoyable. And so we make our classes as much fun as possible. We're very loose. We're very easy. We had a class a couple of years ago, which was surreal. 4 women, all old friends, came for a weekend. I think 3 days they were doing it. They just wanted to have fun. Okay, they arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing they do was bring out the bottles of wine. So 9 o'clock in the morning, they're all drinking away and drinking, and then they go off for lunch and they go to a bar and drink some more, and they come back, and in the afternoon, a couple of them couldn't function at all. They just sat outside in the sun. And we thought, okay, you're paying your money, you do what you want in it. If that's what you want to do, you do it. So the next morning they come in again. This time they're drinking straight out of the bottle. There aren't even any glasses anymore, and they're drinking away all day. And then one of them offered me cocaine in the afternoon, which I did say no to. And one of them just could not function at all and had to go lie down in the bedroom. Perhaps we were wrong. Perhaps we should have said no wine, no drugs. This is about work, but that's not our approach to it. We want people to be happy. We want people to have a good time, because I don't think they learn unless they're having a good time. I think that's the nature of education. You must come to a class with us. We'd have a lot of fun, I promise you. And I would learn from you.
With pleasure. When I have a possibility to organize a trip, I'm waiting for it.
Well, things politically have to change in this country before anybody is going to want to come here anymore.
Yeah.
People are not coming to America anymore, the way things are going right now. They're scared.
Yeah, I agree. And do you have rooms for your visitors also?
No, I'm just telling you, we don't have rules.
No, I'm not about rules. I'm about rooms. It's about accommodation. You also...
When we first started, we used to rent out our spare room. And that was fine for a couple of years. And then we'd have people coming for 5 days, very intense, living in our house, cooking food for them, and not asking much money. We're not greedy money people. So it just became too much for us to accommodate people also. However, all around us, there are Airbnbs, there's a hotel next door. It's rather cheap. Staying here is easy. There's some nice little places, in walking distance that people can stay. So lots of people come and stay 2-3 days near us and do classes. There's only 800 people in the whole town. It's it's what I call a village.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very small. But there are lots of Airbnbs. There's a hotel. There's a place renting cabins. There's very nice places
Okay. Mhm.
to stay here. It's not a problem.
Yeah, and that's why I
Yeah,
asked.
and quite cheap.
Yeah, super. Thank you for information. And I think some people who will watch our video maybe will come
Might
to you.
come. We'll see. Last year we turned classes down. We got so many.
Yeah.
And for struggling artists to be turning down classes and money, things have got to be pretty bad. I think we taught every week for 6 months last year. We taught a lot, maybe 25, 30 classes.
And usually in
That's a
summer.
lot.
Yeah.
In the summer, because in the summer we can dry cloth outside. The winter it can be cold, very cold and snowy here, though this year has been the warmest winter on record in Colorado. I mean, been unnaturally warm. It's easier to do classes in the summer, that's all. Usually we put a big tent up in the garden to do the dyeing outside, and then we have a line to dry the art, and we have a very good setup here.
And usually it's from June to August. Yeah.
No, we do from May to the end of October.
Ah, okay. Your summer is longer.
A bit, well, not always. We've had snow here in July. We are at 7,000 feet. We're higher than anywhere in Europe practically, and the weather is totally unpredictable. We can get snow one day and 80-degree sunshine the next day. It's crazy weather, especially with global warming. There are no patterns anymore to weather. It's just surreal. Life is pretty surreal altogether, Valentina.
Yeah.
You know that as well.
Yeah. And a lot of places, a lot of immigrations.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And now I think the whole world is moving. Something.
Where is it going? It's scary. It's very scary what's happening, especially like for you in Europe. Must be more scary than for us. We're now at war with Iran. Iran is definitely going to retaliate and is retaliating, and you're very close to the action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus Russia, Ukraine, Poland, poor old Poland sitting on the border there. I'd be scared stiff if I lived in Poland.
Yeah, it's true. But
we're deviating from the Batik topic and getting into politics. You can edit all this out if it doesn't seem appropriate.
And I think it will be the last question for today. And tell us, please, about your favorite your artwork, and later I will find it and will attach it, and the people will see which artwork do you like most of all from your.
It's a tough question because, as I said,
you said that you had 10 of them.
I'm not really happy with anything I've done. I can look at it and say, oh, what a pity. But before I left Ibiza back in the 70s, I lived in Spain, lived in Ibiza, and that's where I started doing batik. I did some very good landscapes at the end. I got onto something new. I was using dyes in a different way. Graded dyes, gradation dyes. I was under dyeing before I did the dyeing, which gave different effects in different colors in different areas. And I learned something new. New York, I did a lot of architectural, very fine, detailed architectural work. And I look at it and I think, God, how did I draw that stuff? I could really draw then. West Virginia, I had a good patch. I was stuck in a little old schoolhouse with no money, freezing cold. All I could do was work and work and work, and I did a lot of landscapes that I'm quite happy with. And then I discovered India at the end of the 80s. Went to India, loved it, bought a house in India, and did in a tiny village in the Himalayas. And I drew and batiked practically everyone in the village. I must have done 60 or 80 portraits, and they're good.
I adore them.
Yeah, I was really onto something. My technique was as good as it ever was. I'm quite proud of some of those pieces are good. And I mean, along the way, there are always pieces that stand out, and I think, oh, that was a good one. That's not such a good one. I got stuck into a whole series of snowscapes, snow scenes, which I kind of like. But Beth has always said, no, not good, not your best work. Don't, we won't show them. So I don't ever show any of my snowscapes, but I have some. We have a bag, and it's in this room, of perhaps 200 or 300 batiks rolled up, stuffed in the bag. They're all rejects or pieces that for some reason or other we never showed, or pieces that we showed and nobody wanted, so we put them away again, or pieces that weren't quite right, or whatever. And every now and then I go through the reject bag, as I call it, and I find a piece and I think, oh, this is a great piece. Why aren't we showing this? And so with time and a bit of retrospect, you find pieces that got missed along the way. But we still have a whole stash of art here which has never been seen by anybody, and maybe one day it should all come out. I don't know. I mean, we work like crazy to fill up spaces in the gallery. When a piece sells, we're working non-stop.
Thousand and thousand batiks.
I've done thousands, no question, and I've got thousands more to do. We have this very big order from the Denver Art Museum. They want two huge pieces. I mean, like 5 foot by 3 foot or something. One of the museum itself, one of a Colorado landscape, which I've drawn. Smaller pieces. They want clothes, they want prints, they want posters, they want cards, they want scarves, they want all kinds of stuff. And we're frankly overwhelmed by the work that we have to do right now. And I can't complain, because I've worked all my life to get here. But, be careful what you wish for. You might get it. It's not what you expect.
But I'm very happy for you. I think you deserve all this thing.
I'm very stressed out. It's stressing me.
It's stressing.
I'm not sure at this point in my life I want to live with this kind of stress. I sort of somehow picture my old age as tranquil and peaceful and calm, and with some understanding of what life's all about, and doing steady, beautiful work. And it's not kind of going that way. It's getting more and more crazy as I get older and older.
Yeah. But can you imagine Jonathan without stress?
It's funny because, there aren't many men in the Batik Guild at all. It's I've always thought it really funny. There's all these women, and then there's Jonathan, the chairman. I'm not the boss or anything like that. I'm not the boss. I don't want, that's not my role. But my role is always, I do see clearly, is to communicate my passion for this art, which I can do. And people do pick up on it. And my role is to keep it all going, and keep it interesting, and keep it exciting, and help people find the great pleasure that I found in this art. We did this Batik USA show for the year of Batik a couple of years ago, big show, 15 artists. And so all these artists arrive. We had maybe 8 or 10 came for the show, and the show's up and it looks great. And we had an opening. And we decided we have a little talk before the opening. And I thought maybe 20 people would show up. We got 150 people came for the talk. So all the batik artists are sitting along the wall, and none of them would say a word. They just sat there, fearful, stressed, quiet. And so good old Jonathan stands up and starts talking. And I can talk without thinking, without thinking. I can talk on my feet. And so I'm talking away and talking about and getting into the passion side of art and what it means to me. And everyone's listening, and I started crying. I got so carried away. I was like, tears are running down my face, and I was just wet and totally, and people loved it. And it was so embarrassing. And I thought, here I am. I'm crying in public in front of all these people talking about art. I'm not talking about anything tangible. I'm talking about an idea, a concept, the magic. I'm talking about magic. I'm talking about the unknown. I'm talking about taking something out of the air that doesn't exist and making it real. And that's an amazing thing to do. I don't mean that I do it better than anyone else, but the fact that I can do it and it gives me pleasure creating something from nothing is kind of what it's all about for me, I suppose, in the end. I mean, it's been my life.
Yeah, and your role is to inspire us to continue and continue and continue, because
I plan to live forever. I have this goal of living to 150.
Yeah.
In some ways, I've been very careful. I realized very early on that health was all you had in the end. It doesn't matter how much stuff and how much money and all the rest. None of that really counts in the end. And your health and your body is all you've got. And in some ways, not in every way, in some ways, I've been very careful.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong vegetarian. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any of this stuff. And I'm in my 80s and I'm still hyperactive. I'm still as energetic as I ever have been. My poor old brain is not quite working like it used to, and I forget stuff because your brain's like a hard drive. There's only so much you can put into it. You have to start dumping stuff after a while. So I dump stuff. It doesn't seem important, but I'm still going strong.
Yeah. And please continue to be with us and continue to inspire us. And for all of us, I think it's very, very important.
I think you inspire me. I've been wanting you on board for a long time. You know that. And of course, now we're doing a show together next year in Germany.
I hope so, but I have no thousands and thousands of batiks.
You only need, we thought, like 3 each or 4 each maximum. That's all we need. You can do it. You've got a whole year to work on it.
Yeah, and now I'm preparing to the exhibition, and the exhibition opening will be in May, in the beginning of May. So I'm working on my first batik self-portrait.
Oh, is that the first portrait you've done?
In batik technique, yes.
Oh, good, great. I admire it. And I recognize it where you're coming from when I look at your work. That's why I like your work.
Thank you very much. It's very important for me to hear it.
We're all insecure. All artists are insecure. When Beth and I do portraits, we usually do 2 of them, just to make sure that one is okay. Because it's so easy when you're doing portraiture, which you're trying to get a reasonable likeness. It's so important to get it right. If you do the nose a quarter centimeter too long, it's no good. If you get the color of the eyes slightly off, it's no good. So we've always done two of each, just to be, just to be sure.
For self-portraits, the most important thing is a feeling from the
Yes.
from the image, and I decided for myself that I need to take it a little bit easy, because if I'll be very serious and very careful, exactly something will go wrong. That's why I live without expectations.
Okay. All right. I guess I do too. That is part of the process of batik too.
Yeah,
It's the good thing about it, and it's the bad thing about it too. In a way, it has a life of its own. You do the best you can, but in the end, the batik will come out the way it wants to come out. You can't really control it. And that's kind of the interesting thing about batik. It's different from all the other processes.
Yeah, and all these surprises which we receive at the end.
Totally, it's a big surprise. And we're never happy. I'm never happy. Are you ever happy?
No.
With your work?
No. And
no. You go on to the next one, and next time you'll be happier.
Yeah, but to be honest, I did not make a lot of, and I think I need to work more and more and more and more, just to understand my own style. But I think people told me that I have a style, but sometimes I don't see it.
I see it. I've seen it from everything I've seen of yours. I see your style. Russian. Tradition. There's a sort of tradition you're coming from. I can see, I know about Russian art. I know about art history is my knowledge. I know about art history. You do come with a Russian tradition, which shows in your work. A slightly, not really, but slightly whimsical, slightly romantic, slightly loose, very romantic. You're a great romantic, Valentina. You know that, I suppose. I see it in your art, and that's great. You've got something unique. Keep doing what you do.
I try.
Have you ever talked with Elena Korolyak?
Only online, unfortunately.
Russian, living in the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
She's been there right through the war. She keeps working. She's an architect. She does a lot of street scenes, architectural street scenes, and she's got this sense of mystery and romance is always in her work, and I've always loved it. It's very different to mine, but I recognize that she's coming from a different tradition, really. You should talk to her. She's a wonderful artist and very nice. I mean, and living in hell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and she still lives in Ukraine.
So she's not. Yes, she's not in the war zone.
Yeah, and
it's somewhere remote, some region she lives in, which is remote. So the war is not directly impacting her, though of course it is. She's very scared. She hates what's happening. She hates Russia. She's got nowhere to go. She's not leaving. And I've always loved her work. Very romantic work. And again, you have her work isn't like yours, but you do share something, you and she.
And I never spoke with her, and but I remember her.
I'll connect you with her, Elena Korolyak.
Yeah.
She's on Facebook.